before moving to Vancouver, what would that piece of advice be?
Just decide and go. Make the decision and then do it. And then make
Cool.
another decision and then do it.
I love it. I love that advice.
Welcome to Canada Student Network podcast.
Welcome, Jill, to the podcast.
Thank you.
I'm going to name drop us here, the Canada Student Network podcast. We're super excited to have you. How was your day? How was your day today?
My day was pretty good. Actually, it was a big day for me. I got a bike pump for my bike. And I've had my bike for about 3 years. Well, I had a bike before that, so I've had a bike here for 4 years, and I've never owned a bike pump. So it's just like a big deal.
What an asset. What an asset to add.
Yeah, and I just feel like an independent woman, you know?
We love that. Jill Goranson, actor, artist, businesswoman.
Oh, I'm a businesswoman now?
I don't know. We're going to get into that. We're going to make some explorations.
Okay, cool.
So let's, because we are a student network here, and our goal is to connect students from across Canada and share information and stuff like that. Let's start with that. So you were once a student, once upon a time,
I was.
and where did you study?
I studied at Sheridan College in Oakville, Ontario. Actually, I'm wearing a Oakville shirt. Oakville!
Shout out Oakville.
Yeah, I studied there. I got a degree in music theater, honors in performance of Bachelor of Music Theater. I don't even know.
I think it's a Bachelor of Arts of
No.
Musical Theater.
No, I got a Bachelor of Musical Theater. It's an honors Bachelor of Music Theater in performance. I think that's what it's called. It's not an arts one, though. It's one of its kind. I don't know if it's still around. I mean, I know there's talk of they're going to close the program to not be a degree program anymore, so you won't get a degree, which is super sad.
Wow. Is that like just at Sheridan, or is that like kind of country wide?
Yeah, just at Sheridan. And then there's talk that Grant MacEwan in Edmonton, they will become a degree program, because right now they're kind of the two major music theater programs, as well as Cap University and then the CCPA on the island. But Sheridan's the only degree program where you like leave with a degree in music theater. So it's kind of, it was a big deal then. It kind of still is.
Yeah. What year, when were you at Sheridan?
2015 to 2019.
Excellent. And when you were there at Sheridan, were you on campus, like residence, or were you?
Yeah, I stayed in residence for the first year, and then I moved across the street to the apartments across the street from the school where kind of everyone ended up. So it kind of still felt like residence in a way, but it wasn't.
Cool, that's fun. And if I recall correctly, you are not, so Sheridan, that'd be Ontario, Oakville, Ontario. But you are not an Ontario or BC native. You're an Albertan.
I'm from Alberta, yeah. From Red Deer, Alberta. Born and raised.
Well, how exciting is that? So you can kind of maybe like relate and maybe give some advice to the students out there who, are going to a different different province, different country, different city.
Yeah.
What was that little transition period like leaving home to now you're in a new city, new surroundings?
Yeah. I remember I was so excited. I was so excited to leave Red Deer and experience something else, go somewhere else. And then going to Oakville was like fun, and being in residence was great because then you'd like have like instant friends. Me and my roommate were really close, so that was really nice. But it was like really hard. And like I remember going home for Thanksgiving and being like getting back together with all my high school friends of like, I miss you guys, and like I just like have no friends. Like I have no friends, and it's so sad. But in hindsight, it's like it's not that you don't have friends, it's you have new friends, and it's like the infancy of your relationship, right? So you don't see it building when it's building, and it's only years later that now, like those people I went to university with, they've been my friends for a decade now, which is ridiculous. Like what? Now they're old friends.
I love the saying, you don't get a second chance to make new old friends.
Aww.
Super simple. There's definitely a song about it somewhere. But did you connect with people in your program Are those the
Yeah.
friends that have you stuck with those friends kind of
Yeah. I
continued
mean,
that
my
friendship?
roommate now in Vancouver is a college friend. So now, literally, like the start of my network here in Vancouver was my Sheridan friends. Yeah, and I'm still close with like quite a few people. Actually, tomorrow I'm flying out to Winnipeg to go see my buddy who's in Casey and Diana in Winnipeg. And I'm gonna go watch him in a show.
Well, yeah, it is cool. And I kind of want to touch on that kind of. So you formed your connection when you were in college in that diploma, and then I mean
Degree,
you got
Wyatt.
degree, sorry, I'm sorry, degree.
It's fine.
So coming to Vancouver with that friend group, with that friend, did you guys move out here together?
No, well, what happened was I was living in Ontario and went to school in Oakville, and then post graduation moved to Toronto because that's what people do. You go out and you move to Toronto, and I ended up not signing a lease because I don't know, something in my gut was like, I don't want to get locked into a lease. So instead I subletted, and then that sublet turned to another sublet, and then COVID hit, and I ended up not having a home. And then the one person I was subletting from was coming back from her trip because of COVID. And so I was literally homeless. And I was like, I have nowhere to go. I don't have another sublet lined up. And then so I had to move back to Alberta. I moved back home. And then I started working at a greenhouse. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to work at this greenhouse anymore. I don't want to be in Alberta anymore. So then I was like, what are my options? And my brother lives in Vancouver. Actually, no, but then first my friend was like, I'm going to go to Kelowna and work at this resort. Do you want to come with me? And I was like, yes, don't want to be here. So I moved to Kelowna and I worked at the Lake Okanagan or Okanagan Beach Club. I worked there. It's now burnt down, which is so sad. But I worked there for a few months and then I moved back to Alberta. And then I called my brother who lived in Vancouver and I was like, can I come stay with you? I don't want to be with mom and dad anymore. And he was like, yeah. And so that was October 2020. I moved in with my brother. I stayed on his couch for another 3 months. And then I came back to Alberta for Christmas. And then I just made up my mind of like, I'm going to move to Vancouver. I really liked it. I was unemployed. I had no friends. I had nothing. I didn't even have a home. My brother kicked me out for 8 hours of the day because he had to work from home. So he was like, can you just wander around for 8 hours every day? And I was like, yeah, sure. No problem. And I loved it. I just walked
Yeah.
around for 8 hours every day and I listened to podcasts and I just loved it here. So then I was like, okay, well, I don't need anything here and I'm still happy. So I think I should go back and like start a life. And that's what I did.
What a
Yeah.
cool story. What a
Yeah.
cool story. I mean, what a way to explore this city, tell your brother having to kick you out for 8 hours a day. Wow. I think that's such a testament, though, to kind of some of the crazy stories that newcomers to Vancouver experience as far as
Mm-hmm.
trying to find a place to rent and who to live with, if you can live with anyone, where to do it, where to set up. Like these questions
Totally.
are definitely valid and totally overwhelming to someone like who knows, like if you're an international student, if you're coming from a different province, thrown into this whirlwind of a city. So when you were walking around for 8 hours a day, what were some of your hot spots? What were some of your like, do you have like go-to spots, favorite spots?
Yeah. I would walk so my brother lived in Yaletown at the time, and I would walk up to Welk's General Store on Main Street. I loved it there. That was one of my favorite walks. And then I'd also go to the soap company, which is just a couple blocks south of there. Love the soap company. Just the soap dispensary. I think the
The
soap
soap
dispensary.
dispensary.
So good.
What do they
And
do? They
then,
sell soaps?
yeah, everything's wholesale. So you get jugs of whatever you want. And then I would actually, sometimes I would walk down Fourth. I would like pick my bridge. I would either like go across the Canby Bridge and then eventually end up on Main, or I'd go over and across Burrard and then I'd end up in Kitts. And I remember I ended up at this board game store, and that's now like the closest store to my house. And I remember being like, I love this store, it's so cool. And then literally like a year later I moved. I guess not even a year, 4 months later I found a place like right by it.
That's Kitts area?
Yeah, I live in Kitts.
Excellent. So you get some nice sunsets. You get to go to the beach often in the summer.
Yeah, I go to the beach often year round. I go
Year
for
round.
yeah, I dip every Friday. I haven't been in so many weeks though. I don't know if I can really say that I dip.
Your cold
But
dips?
yeah, I usually dip every Friday morning. at Kitts Beach at 7:15.
I mean, if you got it, some people pay big money to get those like little cold plunge things on their back porch, but you can just walk right out into the ocean and jump in there.
Totally.
What are have you noticed any like good health benefits, health kicks from your cold dips?
Well, there's a big group of us that do it. It's called the Outsiders, and we meet every Friday at Kitts Beach, 7:15, and we always joke that like Fridays are our like crazy days because going from like the cold water and you're like chatting in the water, so you don't realize how long you're in there, and you're like, you can spend like we usually can spend like 10 minutes in the water, which is ridiculous when it's like winter.
I'm cold just thinking about it.
And then we afterwards we all get on our bikes and then go over to the Kitts Beach Cafe and grab a coffee. It's just like such a vibe. It's so, I think it's just like having community, and cold water therapy mixed with caffeine just like gets you going like, ugh. And then we always joke that like we all go to our respective workplaces and be like, I just got so much done in the past 45 minutes. Like, and you just like can power out so much work after you do it.
Yeah, that's a group. You guys go down there as a group? Like, is it like a personal group, or is it like, could you find it?
Yeah, it's online. It's called The Outsiders. Yeah, and it's such a great way to meet people. And usually it's like a lot of people who aren't from here, to be honest. Most of the people are like from Ireland or from New Zealand or from Denmark, or where I've met so many people that are my friends.
That's encouraging. That encourages me. I might come out for
you should come. It's great.
Oh, man. Okay.
It's such a nice way to like just have community, and like even if it's just for a half-hour coffee. But then it's awkward when like you've gone for so many weeks and you should know people's names and you don't, and you're like, I usually just talk to my two best friends and then I meet no one.
I'm sure you're great with meeting the people.
Oh, I don't know. I get so socially awkward.
That was funny. It was a thing we talked about with my last guest on the podcast. It was just kind of definitely networking, but finding that sense of community. How it is a struggle in Vancouver. I'm gonna keep saying this on the podcast until we tackle it. Until people can make friends, not easily, but comfortably and like more often. You know what I mean? So go out for a cold plunge and a coffee, get your day started.
No, I highly recommend it to anyone like searching for community, because that's who is going to these things, is people searching for the same thing. And so it's like a really organic relationship when you meet people. It's like, oh, like, yeah, I just moved here. I don't really know where to go. Oh, no way. Like, I moved here 4 years ago, but like, I felt the same way. It's so nice to meet you. Where are you from? Blah, 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 blah.
4 years you've had in Vancouver.
4 years, yeah.
What have you used what have you used your degree for, like in Vancouver, or even if it's not your degree specifically, but what has kind of been your actor, artist, businesswoman? What are some things that like you have kind of tackled in Vancouver? I know for a fact that you did a really interesting project a few weeks ago with your art pop-up, and I would love to hear you kind of talk about that kind of side of your life, and kind of I'd love to hear your story on that.
Art pop-up, I'm glad we're talking about that first, because it's chronologically art pop-up came first in my life, because I went to music theater school, graduated in 2019, moved to Toronto, as you know, and then I didn't get an agent. I wasn't working. People weren't stopping me on the street asking me to be in their musicals. I was so confused. I was like, I thought I'd buy a coffee and someone would be like, hey doll, we need you in the big leagues. Like that's what I thought would happen, and like none of that happened, which was like concerning, because I did really well in school. I was celebrated at school. So I was like, I'm going to be really successful, because they keep telling me I'm doing a good job. And then nothing happened, which no one tells you at school, that when you graduate, nothing happens. You're just, all the schedules, all the classes you have, those don't exist anymore. And then you have to just live and make decisions and just see how they unfold to lead you down a path in life, which is terrifying. And so I was busy teaching spin and busy being part of this running community in Toronto called Midnight Runners, and I missed making art so much. So me and my friend Alexa McDougall and my other friend Michael Dwars, we got together one day and we're like, well, how can we make art again? Because all of us are not doing it and it's killing us. And so we were like, oh, let's just produce events where we collect people, we give them 1 month, we give them a prompt, and then we all have the whole month to make something. And at the end of the month, we'll show what we made. And we called them art pop-ups. So we did our first one in October 2019. Then we did our second one in February 2020, which was wild because my roommate, actually, Kelsey James, she was in China and she wrote something while she was in China. And then she had to come back from China early because COVID was happening there. And she came to Toronto masked and did her performance masked, talking about what was happening in China, which was wild. And we all watched her being like, oh my God, China's so dramatic about how they're handling this. And why is everybody wearing masks and what's going on? And then literally 3 weeks later, we were experiencing the same reality, which was wild. And then what happened was, then it was April 2021, we did an online version of Art Pop-Up because we were like wanting to continue it. And it was actually really sweet. We won a grant for that, which was super sick because then we got to pay people so much money, which felt so good. And then I didn't do it for a long time. That was 2021. That was like a few months after I'd moved to Vancouver when I was planning yellow. So we did blue, red, yellow. Yellow was the online version. And when I was planning that with Alexa and Michael, I was a care aide for kids and adults with autism. So I would spend the day, I would bus out to New Westminster, go see my client, be with my client for 8 hours a day, have to like wipe his bum, have to like watch him hit his face, have to like deal with his private time and like the most intimate moments of this person's life I was there for. And I did that with my Bachelor in Music Theater. I'm not trained to be a behavioral analyst or a behavioral support person. And yet like that kind of was my job. I was a support in some way. And then I'd bus home from there and plan this event virtually. And then I continued my life in Vancouver. I kind of like stopped doing a lot of art for like a long time. I fell into like a full-time job for a while. And then it wasn't until the end of last year, so the end of 2024, one of the people who was in Red, her name is Lindsay Harfum. She was a dancer in the show for Red, and she now lives in Vancouver. And she like went on a walk with me and was like, Jill, I want to do an art pop-up. And if it's okay with you, like I want to produce it with you. And like if it's okay with your people in Toronto, I want to do this. And so I like chatted with my people in Toronto. I was like, is it okay if I do this with my friend? And then we did it. And it was the first pop-up in Vancouver. And I think it was so successful. And it was such a nice sense of community around art. And yeah, just really just around creation. That's what I love about it. It's like being in the shared experience of you have 30 days to make something. And that's so scary. And then you show it regardless if it's ready or not. It's so brave. And I love that.
That is brave. And are you referring, was that Circle or was that, was that the Circle the first one you did?
Circle's the first one in Vancouver, yeah.
Very talented artists, I enjoyed the show so much. It was a very intimate venue. I saw all the work and the passion that you guys put into it, and it really showed through the performances. And yeah, I think props to you for taking the initiative and like creating that space to allow other artists to come in and share their work. So that's awesome. And you
Thanks.
chose Vancouver to do it. I think that's where I think a lot of creatives do come out here. Throughout our conversation, like we've kind of gone back and forth from like Toronto, Vancouver, which are two powerhouse cities in Canada. It comes to life here. I don't know. It really comes to life here, and to chase our dreams. If you could go back in time and give yourself one piece of advice before moving to Vancouver, what would that piece of advice be?
Just decide and go. Make the decision and then do it. And then make
Cool.
another decision and then do it.
I love it. I love that advice.
And have more fun. Just make the decision and have fun. Okay?
What's your best budgeting hack as a student or a young professional in Vancouver?
getting groceries. Like although it is expensive to get food, you will always save money by going grocery shopping and eating your groceries than you will being ill prepared and then having to eat and stopping at Tim Hortons every time.
So
Buy
true.
your groceries. And investing in your groceries is investing in yourself, and that matters.
I second that, and I'm actually going to take that advice because I'm so bad. It's so easy just to go get fast food. There's so many delicious places in Vancouver. The food scene here is next level.
So true.
Yeah, get your dang groceries, people. Get off the couch. Go get your groceries.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go
And
here.
get
What's
and
another?
get frozen stuff. Like get easy
Yeah,
stuff. That's fine.
throw it in the freezer. It's fine. If someone only had 24 hours to explore Vancouver, what's the ultimate student itinerary?
They should hitch a ride up a mountain nearby and just take a look at the view. They should come back down. They should check out some thrift stores, get a nice coffee somewhere, go to the Vancouver Public Library. I think it's a pretty building. If they need to get some work done, go to like the 7th or 8th floor, and there's like an open work area, which is just fantastic. Then they should hop on a bike the seawall, end up at Jericho Beach, stop and get some brewskis if they're legal, and get a blanket and a Domino's pizza or a nice pizza if you can afford that, and sit at the beach and drink some beers.
Yeah, beers, but brie. If you had some brie, take some brie with you too. Some
Oh,
crackers and
some
stuff.
brie and crackers, yes. And eat some pizza and just enjoy the sunset but go in the water at some point.
I love that. You have actually described so many of my days right
Really?
there. Yeah, yeah. I want to second the Vancouver Public Library. It is a really cool building. That was another thing I talked about on my last episode was the architecture in Vancouver. It's just next level. It's actually so beautiful, and I feel like it's underappreciated. It's very cool. Guys, Jill just gave you the perfect day in Vancouver, so
I did.
definitely heed that advice. What's your number one networking tip for students who want to build a strong career in Canada?
To actually ask questions. Also to tell people that you like what they're doing. I feel like that does more than you think of like, hey, I really like what you're doing. Like I want to do that one day. Can you like would you mind getting a coffee with me and like walking me through like kind of what you did to get where you are? People love talking about themselves. Look at me. I'm loving this.
So true. It's so
No,
true.
but
And I'm trying.
it's so wild what people will share, and people are so generous, and especially if they see something, if they see themselves in you, they will give you so much, and they will be happy to. So like ask questions and
You just kind of sparked an idea in me about we talk so often about I mean just Vancouver people in general, Vancouverites that how and we mentioned it earlier how it is hard to make connections and network and do that, but
mm-hmm,
I mean, putting yourself out there, I feel like we can't all just walk around and say, "Oh, it's so hard to make connections," and not actively try ourselves. And I think that comes from asking questions. You see a
totally.
stranger on the street, you want to build rapport, like ask questions about the other person. What's
Mm-hmm.
your story? What brought you here? And then yeah, let them run. Let them run and let them talk and don't be shy to put yourself out there. Like build the connections, work on it. And if no one's going to talk to you, go up and talk to someone else. Let's go up and talk to the people. That's,
Yeah, and also
that's
being straight up being like, that sounds really fun. Can I join you guys? I have no
mm.
shame in doing that. Like I would never be doing anything if it weren't for me going around sniffing out what's kind of fun and then being like, "Oh, that smells good. You guys got some to share?" Like, "Oh, like
That's
can
awesome.
I come?" And then they're usually like, "No, there's only like 4 seats in the car and they're full." And you're like,
Oh, then you go home and cry.
"Yeah,
um, yeah. Hey, and that's okay too, guys. Like everyone needs a good cry every now and then.
yeah."
Seriously though, if you need to reach out, do that. You can send me a message and book a spot on the podcast, and we can talk about it. We can talk about your feelings and emotions,
Yeah, I love
whatnot.
that.
Cool. any closing words? Anything you want to finish on? You'd like to share with the listeners? Personal feelings, exciting things.
Um, Being a student is actually so fun, as stressful as it is. It's so fun to have something you're curious about and like keep that curiosity. Like if the curiosity isn't like captured in a class anymore, like let it exist somewhere else, and like that's more important than whatever you're doing. Like the curiosity like really matters. And I think post graduation, when you have nothing, you still have that curiosity, so use it.
You know what, Jill? Thank you so much for your time. Um, so many good little nuggets in there for the students of Vancouver and people moving to the city. This
Bye,
is where.
guys.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
So nice to meet you all. It's so nice to meet you all. And we all
Yeah,
have a beautiful day.
yeah. We have a beautiful day, everyone. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for being here. And my name is Jill Goranson. Thank you so much. Have a good night, babies.